I do not mind this spin of the wheel at all. In fact, I've been itching to do some more William Castle films, and so here we are with 1961's Homicidal. This is one I'm wholly unfamiliar with, so I'm extra excited to check it out. Speaking of Castle, he gives an on-camera introduction here while he's needle-pointing or cross-stitching the film's title card. He's clearly channeling Alfred Hitchcock with his intro, something that's very relevant in the case of Homicidal since the film itself is a, let's say, homage to Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, which came out a year earlier. The story begins somewhere called Solvang, California in 1948, and right away there's a demon child. That kid is clearly evil. Has to be. He's the guilty one. He's the one who's gonna be homicidal. Mark my words.
No, Warren, it's mine! Warren!
Okay, well, we were only there for about 90 seconds as we've moved on to Ventura, California, and present day. Here we see a ridiculously thin lady check into a hotel where she eventually offers the clerk $2,000 to marry her and then have it annulled immediately afterwards. She's entirely spooky about the whole process, and he's an idiot, so things immediately progress to the wedding phase. Turns out this was all a ruse to brutally murder the justice of the peace, which, good lord, for 1961, this is pretty extreme. After some car swaps and near misses with the police, she returns home where apparently she takes care of an elderly woman who does not like her at all. The feeling is mutual, it seems. She then begins to meddle in the romantic affairs of the town's pharmacist for seemingly petty reasons. Later, she busts up a local flower shop, specifically any displays having to do with weddings. She's got issues, clearly. And when the pharmacist comes to investigate, she clobbers him. Okay, now, from this point on, there are massive spoilers in what I'm going to talk about. So if you're interested in staying pure in regards to this almost 60-year-old movie, abandon ship now. When the pharmacist comes to, he's greeted by his love interest's brother, and I'm sorry, but that's the blonde lady dressed as a man. This was my first thought as soon as I saw the character, and the fact that his voice is dubbed immediately confirmed it.
What happened? Who made the mess in the shop?
I see this movie's cards and I know exactly where all this is headed. And look, this was probably a very cool twist in 1961, but I've seen a thing or two and I've got this. I'm all over it. He's dubbed for a reason. It's because he's a lady. The homicidal lady. With this twist, Castle is trying to out-Psycho, and I get it, I do. But Psycho is a masterpiece, and this is, well, okay, this is fine, but it's just a knockoff of Psycho. As you'd expect, this all gets extremely convoluted as the lady tries to convince the family that she's married to the dude version of herself, and all this is because of a $10 million trust that the male version of herself is due to receive in a couple of days. But there's more murdering to be done, and eventually, thanks to a master plan that's actually pretty sloppy, she's found out, and that's that. If you're thinking the gender-bending plot is Castle's gimmick for the film, you're wrong. It's stupider than that. This film could and should have leaned on the insane twist as its draw, but no, Castle had to throw in the fright break.
This is the fright break.
The fright break occurs roughly 8 minutes before the end of the film, with Castle interrupting the plot and narrating about just how spooky things are about to get, warning that if anyone can't take it, they only have a few seconds left to leave the theater. Then, in the lobby of the theater, Castle sent out the Coward's Corner, where you're supposed to stay until the audience comes out and informs you the movie has ended. As gimmicks go, this could have been fine. However, as I said, the movie just doesn't need it, and it completely undercuts the tension that's being built as we march towards the finale. Sometimes Castle just needed to get out of his own way, and let the movie stand on its own, but whatever, what do I know? He has 65 directing credits and I just make YouTube videos. The wrap-up of this thing after the final confrontation is so, well, he was born a she and did all this because of A, B, and C, and now high five survivors, let's all go have some sandwiches. It's almost comical how they wrap up such a convoluted story with a 15-second explanation. Homicidal is mostly well made, with only some minor nitpicks aside from the twist that I saw coming a mile away. It's hard to say, oh wow, you gotta see this, but if you're a fan of the era, you might still get something out of it. I just wish I could have seen past its huge plot twist and could have been surprised when it was meant to be revealed. But hey, I was right about that kid from the beginning of the movie.